So, for tonight's blog post, I am going to be addressing the last three questions, which was about the elderly, the gay descriptive word, and also about the single story. My opinion on the elderly being seen as the same as other groups, or if ageism exists, I would say my opinion on that is I actually work with an elderly population. I've been working at a retirement home for about 10 years, and so I'm very familiar with that population. I would say, though, compared to others, I would not call it, as many people would, the most vulnerable population. Obviously, there's plenty of elderly that can't necessarily take care of themselves or protect themselves, and so they have to be given certain rights and certain protections, but there are plenty of elderly people who can absolutely take care of themselves better than a lot of young people can. And so when I think of special populations or vulnerable populations, I consider more to be infants, people that are severely disabled, and many elderly people that I know, I don't think would want to be treated differently just because they're elderly. Many of them really do like to maintain their independence for as long as they can. The next one is the use of gay as a descriptive word. Now, this could be two things, I think, talking about homosexuals or just using it in everyday speech as a slang word. For example, when I was in middle school, we used to always say, "Oh, that's so gay." I would say for the first one, most gay people that I know don't have a problem with being referred to as gay. I've never heard somebody correct anybody else because they use that word. And as far as comparing it to an ethnopolism, I don't think it is one, and I don't think it's as harsh as many other ones. I think if I was in that situation, I would probably prefer that people called me gay versus a lot of the other ones that they could come up with. And it is a description of somebody. But I also think you can take it too far when you're using that term to describe the person completely and not describe any other part of them. And then for the last one, what is the danger of a single story? And so the video on the TED Talk about the writer from Nigeria, I thought was very powerful, and I understood a lot of what she was saying because I think it's easy to assume things about different cultures when that culture is not your own. And I know when I was in high school, we went on a mission trip, and half of the group went to an Indian reservation. And one of my friends came back and she told me she was shocked because she said she didn't feel like she was on an Indian reservation. And I asked her why, and she said there weren't any teepees. And she actually asked some of the children that lived on the reservation, well, where are the teepees and where are the feathers? And she was not being rude. She was not trying to be offensive, but she genuinely had it in her head that if you were Indian and you lived on an Indian reservation, that you lived just like everybody else did in the movies and the books and all the things that she had seen from it. And so sometimes I don't think the people that are unaware are necessarily to blame. I just think that they need to be better educated on culture, which is helpful for all of us.